Hi, hello, and welcome to my channel. October is coming to a close, so you know what time it is? It's that time of the month to play with our TBR jar. But before we actually start pulling some prompts, I do actually have a few books already set to be on our November TBR, so let's go ahead and go through those really fast. The first book is actually one that I'm like halfway through already, so we're obviously going to be reading it in November, and that is The Night Hunt by Alexandra Christo. October was a lot of fun getting outside of my comfort zone, reading a lot of horror and thriller books and things like that. But for November, we're going to go back to reading a lot of fantasy, and specifically I want to get into a lot of like cozy fantasies. So this one definitely kind of gives me cozy fantasy vibes, and then the other two are going to be kind of like more newer releases. First one is Iron Flame. I don't actually have that one yet because it doesn't get released until November 7th, but I am for sure going to be reading that the second it comes in. I'm going to start reading. Like, we're dropping everything and we're reading Iron Flame. And I do actually plan on doing a like reading vlog for that, so let me know if you're interested in a spoiler or a spoiler-free version of that. I'm kind of thinking about maybe doing both in one video. Not really sure how to do that yet, but let me know your opinions. And then the other book that I'm for sure going to be reading that I already have, again, some kind of video planned around, is going to be Powerless by Lauren Roberts. The author of this book actually lives in Michigan, and she's going to be doing a book signing in November, so I want to go to that. So therefore, I feel like I should read the book this month. So that's going to also be on our November TBR. If you saw my last video, I did a Grady Hendrix like reading vlog, and in that video I mentioned that I was doing the 75 hard challenge, which is basically kind of like a lifestyle fitnessy type of challenge. And one of the prompts in that challenge is to read 10 pages every single day of a nonfiction book. So I did pick up these two, and this one I am like halfway through, so before the month is over I will be getting into my second one, which is this one, and they are both by the same author, which is Caitlin Daughtry. And the first one is called Smoke Gets in Your Eyes and Other Lessons from the Crematory. Basically, the author of these two books is a mortician, and this one is essentially a memoir, or like short stories of things that have happened or that she's experienced on the job. And then the other one is Traveling the World to Find the Good Death from Here to Eternity, and this one is essentially about other cultures, like how other cultures celebrate and deal with death and that kind of thing. And the reason I got these two books is basically because I have a really big fear of death and just like aging, because as you get older you start losing people in your lives, and that is the worst thing in the world. So I got these books basically to kind of hopefully make death not seem so scary and sad. Yeah, so far I don't know if it's really helping, but it's definitely interesting. So those are the other two books currently on my November TBR. And now that that's done, let's go ahead and actually start pulling some prompts. All right, I think we're gonna go ahead and pull 7 books, so we're gonna have quite the extensive November TBR. But like I said, I plan on reading a lot of fantasy this month, and fantasy is something that I can just like fly through, so I'm not concerned. Oh, okay, we just had one fall out, so we're gonna go ahead and just do that one. Let's see what it says. The oldest book on your TBR. I don't think that's a fantasy book. All right, so we're gonna go to our Goodreads, and then my books want to read. They're already sorted in the date that I added them, so we're just gonna press reverse. Yeah. Dang it. Manhunt is, I guess, technically my oldest book, and honestly, I literally took this off of my TBR cart because I was kind of planning on maybe selling it or giving it to someone else or something, because I don't think this sounds like something that I would like. So we're not going to do that one. The next one is the Final Girl Support Group, and I did start that one in October, but I haven't finished it. The next one is Just Like Home, which is a book that I was supposed to read with a friend this month, and I never got around to doing it. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I'm not liking our options. The majority of them are like thrillers and horror books, and because I just spent this entire past month reading nothing but those types of books, I'm kind of over it, if I'm honest. I need a break. I'm towing the line of falling into a reading slump, so I don't want to read any more horror. So we're just gonna put this one back into the TBR jar for another day. Maybe by that one falling out of the container, it was like the universe being like, don't pick this one. Okay, so let's pick a different one. Let's try this one. Pick 2 prompts and combine them. That sounds fun. Okay, we're gonna grab this, and then we're gonna grab this one. Ooh, this one is an active prompt, and this one basically requires another person or a place that I need to go to complete the prompt. And for this one, it is Luna's Choice, which is my cat, one of my cats. And the books that she's gonna be choosing between are gonna be 5-star predictions. Ooh, you know what? Actually, I think this is gonna be pretty easy because I literally just bought a ton of new releases. That being said, those are also all ones that I'm excited for. So I'm actually gonna wait until the end to pick the options for Luna. That way, if I pull another prompt that could be used for one of those, I would rather do that, you know what I mean? And actually guarantee that I'll be reading it. So we're gonna go ahead and set these aside. And now let's go pick another prompt. We've literally pulled 4 strips already and not added a single book to our TBR shelf. Okay, so let's go ahead and pick this one. Okay, so this one is a nonfiction book, which we've already got 2 nonfiction books on our TBR already. So yet again, putting it back in the prompt jar for another day. Come on, jar, give me something good, something I can actually do. Okay, we finally have one that I can use. So this one is a romance book, which I actually already know exactly which one I want to do, I think. Yeah, we're gonna do this one. We're gonna go ahead and read Crossed by Emily McIntyre. This is the newest book in the Never After series. I think I got this in September and I was really excited to read it, but we shortly after went into October, obviously, and we had all of the spooky season books. So I had to kind of like put this aside, but now that we're out of spooky season, we're gonna read this one. And I think this one is essentially a dark romance between like a priest or something like that and a woman. It says, he is righteousness, she is sin. Father Cade Frederick is a holy man. Brought up in the streets of Paris, he has dedicated his life to the church. But there's a monster that lingers just beneath the surface, a sickness, one that bleeds darkness and feeds on the damned. When he's tasked to become the priest in Festival, Vermont, a town both beautiful in architecture and riddled with despair, his sickness sings, demanding he rid the place of evil. Amaya Paquette is Festival's beautiful mystery. She spends her days caring for her younger brother and her nights transforming into Esmeralda, dancing for greedy eyes and shameless lips. That reminds me, this is, again, part of the Never After series. If you've never read any of the books or you don't know anything about the series in general, these are basically dark romances inspired by Disney movies, and this one is inspired by The Hunchback of Notre Dame. So that was definitely not my favorite movie as a kid. As a matter of fact, I don't think I really liked it, but I am excited to read this book nonetheless. Now let's go ahead and pick our 3rd prompt, technically. Okay, this one's like wrapping around my finger, so we'll grab this one. A popular book. Okay. Ooh, you know what? You know what? We have 2 choices and they're gonna be by the same author. I already kind of like have it in, I have like a video ideas list that I'm just kind of like constantly adding things to. And one of the ideas that I had was to do a like full spoiler reading vlog of the Throne of Glass series. I have a fluff tickling my nose. So this is definitely something that I wanted to start soon for that. Because there is like 1,001 books in the Throne of Glass series, so I feel like it's something that's going to take me a little bit of time to get through. So I wanted to start it sooner than later. But then also, I did just recently get the first 2 books in the Crescent City series. These are special edition paperbacks from Barnes & Noble. Are these not like the prettiest things ever? The 3rd book in this series did just come out. I don't know if it's gonna stay a trilogy or if there's gonna be more books added to it, but either way, there is currently only 3 in this series, whereas this one again has a ton. So this one is a little bit more tempting because it'd be quicker to get through, but I think we're gonna go with this one. Book number 4. Let's do a quick grab. Go at the bottom. I always grab from the top, so this one's from the bottom. Literally, this is so funny. A book at the bottom of your TBR. A book at the bottom of your TBR. What does that mean? I feel like this could go in 2 different ways. Either at the bottom of my TBR as far as like my want to read list on my Goodreads account, which those are all just like horror ones and things like that at the bottom. So the way that I'm going to interpret this prompt is gonna be a book at the bottom of my TBR shelf. So we're gonna pick a book from this bottom shelf, basically. We do have Red Rising. I think I've actually picked this book a couple different times in my TBR videos, so I don't really want to pick it again, but that is an option. We also have Caraval, which does actually sound really interesting. It's basically about 2 sisters and like a magical carnival. We also have Godkiller, which actually I feel like Godkiller and Night Hunt have the same kind of like found family, cozy fantasy type of vibes to me. I got this book for my sister as well because we like to read a book together every month, and she just mentioned recently that she had started this one. So I think maybe I should go with Godkiller. So for our 5th prompt, I'm not even gonna shuffle, we're just gonna grab one. Okay, a book that matches your outfit. I'm basically wearing a like thrifted Hawaiian style like dad shirt and it's got green, black, and red, a little bit of like a yellowy gold color on it. So what kind of has the same vibe? We have The Thorns Remain, which is not the same colors, but it is basically all greenery. And you know what, actually? The leaves on this cover do look very similar to the leaves on my shirt. What else? Does this kind of have the same? It's got the same kind of colors a little bit with like the black and kind of like the gold, but I don't know if it fits the vibe. The Witches of New York? Nah. If We Were Villains kind of fits the color theme. This is basically like a dark academia, which I feel like is very fall time vibes. So that kind of fits with November. I think we're gonna go with If We Were Villains. I feel like this matches the vibe the most. Like if I was to take a picture, I feel like these would go well together. So we're gonna do that one. Prompt number 5. Let's do this one. A book by a male author. Interesting. I do feel like the majority of my books are written by women, but I know for sure that I do have some male authors. First off, again, we do have Red Rising. This is by Pierce Brown. Is V.E. Schwab a woman or a man? I think it's Victoria is her name, so I think it's a woman. Yeah, it's a woman. Okay, never mind. Also, is her name Victoria? It is. I have literally the worst memory ever, but some random stuff just really sticks in there. Is this it? Oh no. We also have The Word is Murder by Anthony Horowitz. We have Slewfoot by Brahm. And then I do have a couple of like Riley Sager books that I would like to read. I think I'm gonna read Slewfoot because this is one that I was really highly anticipating for October and I just never got around to it. I think I kind of set myself up for failure on accident. Like I just had way too many books that I was hoping to read in the month and it was physically impossible. So this is one of the ones that kind of like slid through the cracks that I was really excited for. I just never got around to reading, like I said. So we're gonna go ahead and do this one. I think this is gonna be a fun read. An ancient spirit awakens in a dark wood. The wild folk call him father, slayer, protector. The colonists call him Slewfoot, demon, devil. To Abatha, a recently widowed outcast, alone and vulnerable in her pious village, he is the only one she can turn to for help. Together they ignite a battle between pagan and Puritan, one that threatens to destroy the entire village, leaving nothing but ashes and bloodshed in its wake. This terrifying tale of bewitchery features more than 24 of Brahms' haunting paintings, fully immersing readers in this wild and unforgiving world, because that's another thing that I thought was really cool about this book. The artistry on the front cover, first of all, was like the entire reason that I got this book. But then I also did notice when I got the book that it does have a set of like fully colored illustrations in the middle of the book. But then I also just realized that they have other little illustrations for every chapter as well. So I think this one will be a fun book to read, not only for the story, but just like visually. All right, so last but not least, we have a book with "of" in the title, which my most anticipated of the new releases that I've purchased recently is The Throne of the Fallen. This is a spin-off from the Kingdom of the Wicked series, which is essentially a fantasy romance between a witch and one of the 7 princes of hell, who all represent one of the 7 deadly sins. And Kingdom of the Wicked actually focuses mostly on wrath, but you do still kind of learn and get to know some of the other brothers. And one of them specifically was one of my favorites, which was Envy. And this spin-off book is basically all about envy. And with that, that is all of our TBR prompt jar picks, but we still do need to do the Luna picks from our very first prompt, I think it was. And again, I do need to pick all 5-star predictions, which I know exactly which ones we're doing. These are gonna be the ones that Luna is gonna choose between. We have Fall of Wrath and Ruin, The Scarlet Veil, and actually, I can't do The Scarlet Veil because I haven't read that series yet. This one's very similar to Throne of the Fallen, where it's a spin-off of another trilogy, and that trilogy is Serpent and Dove. And I did read Serpent and Dove, but I haven't read the other 2 yet, so we actually cannot do this one. But we are gonna still do Fall of Wrath and Ruin, and then the other one is Curious Tides, and I did want to pick 3, so what's another one that we can do? Ooh, Foxglove. This is one that I bought, again, also I think in September, and I just haven't been able to read it yet, but I'm very excited to. And I absolutely loved Belladonna, so I have no doubt in my mind that I'm also gonna really love Foxglove. So these are gonna be our 3-star predictions, These are gonna be our 3 5-star predictions that we're gonna have Luna choose from. So let's go ahead and set that up and have her pick. All right, so here's our little setup. I just got done putting the treats on top of the books. Now I just have to go find Luna. She's probably under my bed, so I'll be right back. Okay, I have acquired the cat. She can already smell the treats, so let's see what she does. It looks like she's gonna go Foxglove. Oh, or maybe not. She went kind of basically straight for Foxglove, so. You want more? There's more in the other books. You just gotta find them. That was literally the most painless this process has ever been. I've done this with my dog and my other cat, and I had to do like so many adjustments every single time. Our TBR shelf is the most packed I think I've ever seen it. And let's go ahead and go over the books that we're gonna be reading in November really quickly. So like I mentioned in the beginning of the video, we did already start off our month with a few picks. So we have Night Hunt, Powerless, Iron Flame, Smoke Gets in Your Eyes, and From Here to Eternity. And then as far as the ones that our jar actually picked for us, we have Crossed, Throne of Glass, God Killer, If We Were Villains, Slewfoot, Throne of the Fallen, and Foxglove. And with that, those are all of the books on our November TBR. We have quite the stack, but I'm very excited. It's a really good mix of a lot of fantasy, and I'm just so excited to get back into fantasy. Again, I had a lot of fun with October, reading all the horror, getting outside of my comfort zone and things, but I'm excited to get back into my comfort zone. Let me know down below what's on your TBR for November. And with that, that is everything I think I have to say. I hope you guys have had the most amazing of days, and I will hopefully see you in my next one. Bye.